Hey everybody, I just wanted to stop on for a minute to check in. I know it's been a few days. As you see, I have some bok choy. Um, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with the gas prices and the food prices. And I'm sorry about this glare. I'm having a time getting my lighting right. Hopefully this is better. I don't know if you've been paying any attention, but it's kind of hard to miss nowadays that the gas prices are going up. Food prices are going up. Gas prices in my area are around $4 a gallon, and I've heard that in some areas it goes anywhere up to $7 a gallon, which to me is outrageous. And of course, like I said, food prices are up, but we've been talking about the food thing for as long as I've had my channel. And over time, it's just gotten worse and worse. And while I'm talking, I'm just chopping up some bok choy kind of thin because bok choy can also be dehydrated. And I hate to waste food. I seriously hate to waste food. So if I cut it thinner, kind of like I would cut celery if I was, gonna do some celery on the dehydrator, then I can pop this stuff on the dehydrator and I'll wash it and after it's cut up, pop it on the dehydrator on my trays, and in about 10 hours, the whole thing will be done. The leafier portions will get dry really quickly, and the portions that have a lot more juice and muscle to it, that will take a little bit longer time. But all in all, it's food and it's good food and it's fresh food that I'm not going to have going to waste because you know how I am about that. Anyway, gas prices are going up, food prices are going up, and you can't hardly find what you want in the store nowadays unless you're like really fortunate and you live somewhere where you're not in the food desert, meaning, places, food deserts where, often in the inner city where there's a large number of people and not much as far as resources for food within that area that the people live, aside from corner stores, which are convenient but a lot more expensive, um, fast food, which is convenient and not the most healthy thing. So, but it's good if you know how to cook and how to prepare things, or even if you're learning and you're taking it step by step, day by day, so that you can get things like when they're on sale or something, or if there's an overabundance of bok choy or whatever, and there's a giveaway. Yes, I will take your bok choy. See all of this? Put it in my container, and after I'm done chopping it all up, I can put it on the dehydrator, plug that baby in, let it do what it has to do. Quick, easy, and delicious because then I can use it in my soups. I can reconstitute it later and use it in other things, just like I did with the greens. I shake out a lot of my greens. I've blended them down, kale and collard greens, where I can use it in a shaker. Then I also have a lot of it that I chopped into larger sections, dehydrated, and that's put away in a container so that I can add that when I'm making lasagna or soups or whatever. And when it takes in that liquid that's in there with it, it comes back to form. The flavor is still there, just like it was fresh. I love doing that. You just have to keep an eye on your stuff. Keep checking in on your food. And I don't know if you know very much about bok choy. Um, it's Bok choy is like from the cabbage family. Doesn't look like a cabbage. It looks like a cross between between a cabbage and some celery. You see how it has the tall top? But yeah, it's from the cabbage family, and it can be a good thing to have to put away, especially if you can dehydrate it and put it away so that you have it for other days when you may need it. So we've got gas prices going up, food prices going up, availability of the food types that we prefer to eat. That's kind of going down in a lot of places, not everywhere. I mean, you can look at Whole Foods and other places to see if they still have those items that you eat regularly every day, or the things that you prefer to have. I'm also cooking down some more beets because that's what I do. I do enjoy cooking down the root vegetables because of the health content in the root vegetables. And they're easy to dehydrate, and you can do so many different things with them. So I do enjoy that. So cooking down some more beets, but when I thought about it, I have this bok choy. I don't want it to go to waste. So I'll chop up all that's good, throw away that which is bad, dehydrate it, and then tomorrow I'll get back to slicing the rest of those beets nice and thin and putting them on the dehydrator so that can be put away in good time. So our weather has been up and down. One day it's snowing, the next day it's hot. Um, I don't know if you can tell, I took my locks out of my hair, so which was a process, many days. So now I just have my hair back in a ponytail, or I put a hat on, or whatever. Same old me. It just took a lot of work to take those locks out. But with that, it's like one day it's hot, one day it's cold. We don't know what the temperature is going to be or what the weather is fully going to be like. So we do rely on our weather forecasters, but sometimes the seeing is more or less the believing. So I've sweated my hair out again because of the crazy weather stuff. Bok choy, like I said, it's a from the cabbage family. It's more like a Chinese cabbage. It doesn't grow into a ball. It grows straight up, just kind of like how celery does. Um, and it has a good nutritional content. Um, like I said, it's always good to dehydrate stuff and have what you need. You know, you can dehydrate carrots. I've dehydrated carrots anyway. Rutabagas, which I know a lot of people aren't big fans of rutabaga, but it actually doesn't taste that bad. I can do some recipes for that sometime on the channel. And for those who saw my video where I was talking about doing the mango chicken, I do still intend on doing the mango chicken. It's just that when I was going to do it before, the next day, I got up to go to the store, and we'd had a snowstorm overnight while I was asleep. And so I didn't get to the store to get some fresh mango. But my plan is to stop by the store tomorrow and see if there is any fresh mango. Of course, it's not something that would be normally in season here where I live in the Midwest, so I know it's shipped in from somewhere. But it would be nice to have that so I can make that little treat. But with things like the bok choy, or if you dehydrate sweet potatoes, beets, and things like that, or the onions, which you know I'm kind of a big proponent of having the dehydrated onions as well. Those things go a long way. because you could take a sack of onions and dehydrate them and package them up in a jar like that. That's like a 2-cup size jar. Um, and it will last you, it can last you through the winter months. Or if you don't have winter type months where you live like I do, it can last you 4 to 6 months depending on how much you use at any given time. For me, that was the game changer when I learned that because I used to go to the store and buy those cute little packets that had the dehydrated onion and carrot in it and a few other little seasonings and spices. And I would take that and I'd pay $4 or $5 or whatever for that little tiny packet, sprinkle dinkle. Within a month, it's gone. But now I can dehydrate my onions, I can dehydrate carrots and peas and all kinds of other things for that same $5 and make it last 3 to 6 months. That's when I started taking my dehydrating to another level. And I know there are a lot of people that prefer to have freeze dried food. And I've purchased the freeze dried foods through different companies, but freeze dried food, it's spendy to get. It's if you're wanting to freeze dry yourself, more power to you, but it's going to be spendy to get the machinery so that you can do that yourself. But if you can afford to do that, that's wonderful. Let me know when you get that machine, and I would love to watch your videos of you freeze drying some food or showing how that process is. I'm not sure how complicated it is or whatever. But I know there are places like Mountain House and Thrive Life and lots of different places like that. Emergency Essentials, and the Patriot um, groups. They do a lot of freeze drying. But being um, preparedness minded as I am, um, I like to be able to not only just store up and save up stuff, I like to be able to prepare my food myself. I want to be able to know different recipes and add my own little nuances and flavors to things so that I can eat what I want when I want. You know, if I want some nice coffee, this becomes my cafe. If I want a specific meal, become my bistro here. That way, I'm not having to pinch pennies and count all the time and say, do I have enough for that if I'm wanting to do this and that as well? You know, do I have what I need if I wanted to entertain others, or do I have to go out and shop for things that someone else has to prepare just so that I can possibly entertain others? In my opinion, it's better when you can do it all for yourself. It's a whole lot better. And whether you're eating alone, family coming over, or having a dinner party, have the essential ingredients that you need. See what you can make that either doesn't require a whole lot of time, um, or doesn't require a whole lot of preparation time or work. Um, See what you can make that doesn't require a whole lot of ingredients. Or if you're used to having things that have salt or sugar in them, but now you're on some dietary restrictions where you cannot have those things, check in with your doctor or your dietitian or whomever and ask if it's okay for you to have garlic. Is it okay for you to have lemons, lemon juice or lemon crystals? Because those are things that can be used instead of the salt. I usually use garlic, and then I'll add my dehydrated vegetables, dehydrated greens. That's just kind of how I roll. And for my tea, I don't, since I don't really purchase the straight regular sugar anymore for my, when I'm making tea, I like to use honey. That's just me. Maybe you can't use honey. And if you can't, then find what you can use and start trying out some different things so that you can make things that are to your liking. And when you're cooking, test your food, taste it, make sure that it tastes how you want it to taste. You don't want any disappointing surprises in the end. So, I hope that you've been doing well in your um, prepper journey, your food preparedness, home preparedness, electricity preparedness, emergency preparedness journey. Because, with the conflicts that are going on everywhere, um, conflicts tend to impact us even when we think it's something that's happening on the other side of the world. Because believe it or not, we're all connected one way or the other. We're all connected. And sometimes things play out in a way where we lose out as far as, gas prices going up exponentially. The price of gold is going up too, from what I've heard. Um, People that have been visiting other countries for one reason or another are being advised in many circumstances to, you know, get their family members or whomever it may be should return back to their home country, or it's very touchy. It's a very touchy time, and it's stressful for a lot of people, and a very sensitive subject for a lot of people too. And I get it and totally respect that. But for years I played through the what ifs in my mind because I've been one of those that was under the funnel cloud that was forming in the sky as it was ready to land down. Um, I've been in the area where straight line winds have blown and knocked power lines out, and then I ended up without power for about a week. All the food in the refrigerator and freezer went bad. I had a few canned goods because I wasn't really prepper minded at that time. So, and that was more than 20 years ago. Um, so, the few canned goods that I had, I was happy that I had them, but I was disappointed that it wasn't enough to meet the needs for me and my family. So I thought I'd go and look for a gas station. Um, didn't work out so well because just like the power was out in my block, the power was out 5, 6 blocks away at the gas station, which meant that there was no gas running in that gas station. There was no electricity in that gas station. Um, Only thing I could get was a box of donuts, and actually, my neighbor bought the box of donuts and then shared with me and my kids. And that's when I started to realize this thing is serious, and I should be prepared for whatever might come. So, I mean, I do keep a decent freezer. I do keep vegetables and things stacked and dated, and what is it? What's the date that it's going in there? So that I could reasonably stretch out what I have for a long period of time. But if the power goes out, the power generators that I have are not strong enough to keep this running. I have one that's strong enough to maybe keep a little freezer or whatever running, but I want to use them more as a source for light and to make sure that my computer works, or my phone if there's no EMP or anything like that. So refrigerator stuff goes out, then that's when I would eat those items first. Well, I wouldn't be opening and closing the refrigerator a lot for one thing, but then I would eat those items first. Because when the power goes out, what happens? It impacts the water supply because are the purification systems going to work within that water supply when the power goes out? Do you have a few extra jugs of water? Like one per household member per day. So you may want to have quite a bit of water because we use water a lot more than we often think about it. We drink with water. We use water to help cook or boil our food. The nice thing about dehydrating, though, is that I can eat my dehydrated beets or whatever just like they're potato chips. I can. Um, prefer to reconstitute them with some water, but I do have that option. I can eat them just as dry as they are, just like a potato chips. You do kale like that too, but of course they make kale chips, which isn't that big of a deal. So, with the rising gas prices and with the prices of everything in the stores, what have you been doing to prepare? If you have any kind of health and medical condition, have you talked to your doctor about um, getting larger doses of certain medications? I realize some medications you're not able to do that with, but there are some where you might be able to do that with, where they could send it to you mail order through the mail order pharmacy, and you could get up to 3 months worth at a time, which could really help you out if things got rough and there was suddenly no supply of medication to go out. Not trying to be a fear monger, just saying those are realities that could potentially happen. And I've actually heard some people say that, I don't like this food and I don't like that food, but I'll eat it if I don't have any other choices. It'll be terrible and I'll shove it down my throat and I just won't even think about how it tastes. But why do that if you don't have to? Take the time to prepare now. Seriously. Which I know I've been saying prepare for a very long time. But take the time to prepare now. So if things go down, you're actually able to make some stuff that you like. And if you're not that great of a cook or you just like to go fast food, try to make some of those things in a simpler fashion for yourself. Some people prep by getting a lot of ramen noodles. You can eat what you want. For me, the salt content is very high, and if I have the noodles, I don't use the flavor packet because the salt content is just astronomical. But put some things together. Get a few recipe books. Check out some things, and you might find something that you like. I will often get involved in different events where I have an opportunity to win one of many prizes, and if one of those prizes is a recipe book, sure, I'll go for it, because there may be some recipes in the book that are different and sound interesting. They give ideas for some different ways that you can make the flavor pop in your mouth, where you can really enjoy what you're having to eat. So it doesn't hurt to do that. Um, if you have a few bucks, go to your local Goodwill, Salvation Army, Steeple People, or whatever the name is for your thrift store in your area, and see if they have some decent books that you might find to be helpful. I mean, you can get books for entertainment, because like, if our society just suddenly goes back several years by loss of technology or whatever, you're going to want to have something that you can read, something that you can do with yourself, busy yourself during your time. Books for entertainment are good. Books for learning are good, such as cookbooks. If you have certain health conditions, see if there are any books that may relate to your health condition that talk about how to eat for a healthier diet, healthier life. You might find something for 50 cents or $1 or whatever. And if you do, go for it. Get it. Start exploring, start trying different things. If you're concerned about having enough produce, and maybe you're not able to, just get the free Bok Choy, um, go to your local dollar store. Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Family Dollar, which of course Family Dollar is now $1.25. Um, and look for seeds. See what they have, and try to get a few packs of seeds, or as much as you can afford to. Look at the seeds and see what all it's offering on it, and how long it takes for different things to grow, which it'll say on the back of the package. You can also, like, I get these seed packs from a variety of companies through Amazon. Like, this one has like 12 different types of culinary seeds that I can use in my hydroponic garden, like basil and lavender, thyme and sage and chives and cilantro and mountain mint, which the mint grows like wildfire. So try to get a few packs of seeds and get some things going. It's not a time to be anxious for anything. This is just a time to be wise and to really think about things, and sit down and make some notes to yourself and say, what do I like to eat? You know, what would I do if I was suddenly not able to go to the store? If something happened, and the military, as they tend to do with their tactical situations, they decide that they're going to close off the highways and um, those routes on the roads where you're not able to go to the store. Then what would you do? Some people may be able to say, hey, I'll walk. But there are probably people that live within walking distance to the store. And then when you get there, you're going to have to hope that the store is open. But what can you do today for yourself to be more prepared? Because seriously, are you ready? You know, you can grow some things at home. Start some seeds. Um, You can get some food grade buckets. A lot of bakeries where they make breads and cakes and pies and donuts and all that, they use food grade buckets for their stuff. And then when they're done with them, they'll either post it on Facebook Marketplace or um, set it outside their back door or whatever. Um, or you can just go into the place where they are doing that early morning baking and say, hey, I was just wondering if you had any food grade buckets and that you might be interested in, getting rid of, because I'd be happy to take them off your hands. And they may just give it to you for free. I know it sounds hard to believe, but yeah, there are some folks out there that still give things away for free. If you approach them in the right way and you're polite about it, you can get some stuff. Like, take for example, I like to do all kinds of stuff with my hands. Like I've just finished chopping up that entire head of bok choy, which was a lot, a lot. But there are times when I want to make something. I want to make a rug. I want to crochet or knit a hat. I've made wool coats. And, find what your skill set is and what you're really good at and start honing those skills because that's something that can be used in a barter situation. That's something that can be used just to help you in your own personal situation. But, like, I like making things, but I also like talking to people and learning more about them and what their interests are. And so there's this coffee shop that I tend to go to. Um, you know, kind of time when I have a little extra cash. And I noticed that they had a bunch of coffee bean sacks because they roast their beans and make the coffee fresh right there. And I said, what do you guys do with those bags when you're done using them? I don't know. We'll fold them up and put them to the side. Why? Do you want a bag? Are you are what did they say? They asked me if I wanted a bag to use for gardening. It's like, sounds good, but no, I'd like a bag because I want to make something. Hold up a minute. So they were like, oh, what do you want to make? I want to make a rug. And I guess it sounded like it was funny or a cute thing. They're like, okay, well, which bag do you want? I chose one. They said, you want two? I said, sure, I'll take two. Sure, why not? So I took a coffee bean sack and I have been working on a rug because once I took the edge loose, because it's a decent sized bag. And I took the edge loose and I got some yarn and slowly I've been working on the rug, which it may take me quite a while, but there's been a lot of interest that's grown because of the rug. That the fact that I'm really doing this and just using a very small crochet needle and some very thick yarn and this burlap sack. Skills like this is something that people might see and say, I'll buy that rug from you. Or you can put it in a state fair or whatever and get some recognition and maybe able to like get clients or something from it. I just wanted to do it because it was a good idea that came in my head and I figure I can make it and it can go on my kitchen floor or wherever. Um, kind of like when I built my tiny house. It was an idea that came to me. I wrote everything out, and when I built it, I went to the city first, said what I wanted to do. They approved the plan, and then I did it. I keep seeing something flying around, but I don't know. Maybe it's some dust or something. So I built the tiny house. But it was before the time of tiny houses being popular. So the people that were in the community where I had built the tiny house thought I was a little off for doing it. And they harassed me and gave me a really hard time till I just kind of gave up on that venture. Then after I give up on the venture, then everybody said, "Hey, let's build tiny houses." But yes, it is possible to have a good plan, to have a dream, have some idea of something that you want to do, and to be able to do it. Just have to keep your mind focused, write everything down, make it plain. Always write down your idea, what you want to do, make it plain, and find out what all the things are that are going to be needed to go into that idea becoming successful. Um, I went to Home Depot, and they have like Home Depot University. So then I would take the classes that they had there to learn how to do different things. I'd go to the library and get books on solar energy and global warming and learning about electronics and plumbing and all of those things. And yeah, I actually built a tiny house on wheels in about it took about 12 to 14 months. So it was a work for someone my age to do, but it was possible. And I believe that if you put your mind to it, you're capable. We are all capable of doing a lot more than we could ever imagine. But if you find that you have a desire for something and you really don't know all the things that you need to know to make those things happen, then seek out some help. Get some books, go online, do some Googling, attend some seminars, talk to some people, learn some things, and see what you are able to do for yourself. And if it's something that is outside your vein of capability, then know when to say, "I need help," and ask for that help. The tiny house that I built, I mean, and nothing against all the people that are making money now in this whole process. But the tiny house that I built, I spent about $7,000 on all the equipment and supplies to build it. But that also means that I did a lot of demolition work because um, I don't want to fill landfills, which unfortunately in the end, because my sad story about what happened with my tiny house and the community where it was at, it did end up in a landfill. I ended up putting it through the crusher. Not that there was anything structurally wrong with what I had. It was more of the community I was around was not comfortable with it because it was something they were not familiar with. But $7,000. And I thought, well, I'm going to need to frame the walls. I'm going to need a flatbed trailer. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need that. I need to frame the walls. Blah blah blah. So, what do you need to frame the walls with? Did my research on that. Oh, and how far should the beams be apart? Did my research on all that. Where am I going to get the wood? Because it's going to cost money. So, what I did was I looked up, people that were selling their homes um, in the community and found someone who was trying to sell their house. And the house had a two car garage, and there was a shed behind the house too. And they said, boy, if I didn't have that shed, I believe my house would have been so much easier to sell. And I said, well, I've got a deal for you. I'll bring a truck and my equipment and supplies, and if you pay me $50. I will do the demolition and knock down that shed. And then I get to keep the wood. Person said okay and went for it. And so instead of me having to pay for that wood, I was able to harvest and reuse some really good old wood, which became the structurally sound walls and floor for my tiny house. So there are ways around things that, I mean, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to do something. You can't just sit and look at videos and say, boy, I hope everything comes together some kind of way. Well, you can watch the videos. That's great. And if you find this video helpful, give me a thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section below, please leave that too. And I do plan on doing mango chicken soon. Um, just have crazy weather and all kinds of stuff going on here. But just take a minute and think about, what do you want? What do you want? What are you trying to do? Seriously. And is there a way to do it? You know, do you have support of friends or family members? Do you have support in your community? Because I tell you, when you're the lone wolf, things get really difficult really quick. So it's really good if you have somebody to support you. I'm not saying that they have to get out there with a sledgehammer and do everything, but it's good to have some kind of support. And try to broaden your horizons, and just take some time one day and just write down all the potential ideas that you have. Which one are you most interested in, and what can you do to bring that to pass? And from there, you start making your steps, ABC, 1, 2, 3, and working through it, checking them off as you get things done. Go back and look at it. Draw a picture of what you want to see for yourself. But recognize that we're in a time where there's a lot of conflict in the world. We're in a time when food prices are up, gas prices are up, kids are not in school, in my area anyway, because teachers are on strike 2 or 3 times out of the year. Medical community is on strike because everybody wants a raise, everybody wants more money and less work to do. And I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I got a lot of work to do too, which is why sometimes I can't get to the store to get the mangoes so I can do my mango chicken right on time. Um, but knowing that I have the job that I have and that I enjoy what I do, sometimes I just have to focus on what is my responsibility and what is my passion and my drive. Can't always sit around playing guitar or clarinet or keyboard or whatever, even though that's part of my passion too. I have to look around me. What's happening in my community? What's happening for my neighbor downstairs? Does she need food? Is she feeling well? Is everything okay? Are packages being delivered outside our building? Do you know who's going to be looking out today to make sure that people aren't stealing the UPS packages or the FedEx packages, especially if the person just drops them on the porch and runs away? So it's that working together as a team and communicating. Because if you're not communicating, then you're sitting there hoping that people are reading your mind, and people aren't always reading your mind. Not everyone knows what you know or what you want or what your desires are, what your stresses and your frustrations are. And every day we go through so much stuff. And sometimes, sometimes you just got to take a deep breath and say, okay, I just need the next 3 minutes to myself just so that I can chill and just breathe and relax and shake off the negative and keep on moving. So I think I've gone over. I said I was only going to be on here a few minutes. I did it again. I'm sorry. But sometimes I get started talking and it's like yippity 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 yap. Sorry, that's kind of how I am. Um, it's just kind of how I am. But focus on yourself and making some plans and getting some things together. Seriously, because the world is changing every day. Um, if you like to drink tea, you should probably have a couple of boxes of tea or whatever. Uh, Everything is just so off and so different right now. Let's see if I can at least show you like some of what I store. I do the apple cider vinegar and the regular vinegar, and I got dry milk and lots of canisters, not really canned goods, behind there with dehydrated sweet potatoes and other things. Corn muffin mix. Let's see. You can see that corn muffin mix and cans of dried beans. I have the plastic shoebox containers full of beans here, and here below I have containers that are full of spaghetti because that's all good to have, you know. And I don't want my spaghetti to be going bad or getting broken or whatever. Up here, I have extra. Can't. I guess the picture isn't very good, but I have extra coffee cans that are filled with different types of dried beans. Whenever they were selling the coffee in these tin cans, I would use up the coffee, clean out the can, let it dry out, and I would put the sacks of dried beans right in there, just like that, just so it's not like a waste. This cupboard is messy. Lots of canned goods, couple of sacks of coffee beans up here, some canned fish, canned tuna, salmon up there, lots of vegetables, lots of different types of tea. Some of them are tea that I bought in the store, like senna. If you're having a hard time going, you can use something like that, and it relieves occasional constipation or whatever if you're backed up. And then I use these metal tins for like if I'm uh, growing mint, and I bring the mint in and I dehydrate it, and I put that dehydrated tea, the mint, in there. Always keeping extra olive oil, always keeping the Nido. So I keep two or three different types of milk because some types of milk are good for one thing and other types of milk are good for something else. But if the crap hit the fan and I didn't have any other options, I'm gonna work with whatever milk I can pull out right now. But I've also bought one of those emergency essentials packets, but about it's about a week or two worth of food. Very calorie dense. I got it and I thought, oh, this isn't so bad for the price, I guess. I don't know. But it's calorie dense, and which is good if you're thinking that you're only going to be able to eat one meal a day, because then you'll have your zillion calories in that meal of the day. Um, but because it's so super processed, and I'm trying to be more heart healthy and focused and health conscious, I just felt like it's not something that I would buy again anytime soon. Um, but I understand for those that maybe don't have a food dehydrator or other means, or maybe you're not comfortable trying to um, dehydrate foods in the oven because that's more of a process. Um, then getting something like the emergency essentials might work for you. Getting a bunch of boxes of cornbread because you can make hot water cornbread. All you need is that cornmeal and some water, really. And you can make those cornbread pancakes and eat it and be satisfied if you didn't have any other options. Those are something things that you can do. Some people get their chili mixes and or get the manwich sauce and all that, and then they're worried about meat. But because even the prices of meat have been going up, up, like you already know, I've been talking about the chicken wings. Prices are through the roof on the chicken wings. But because the prices of meat have been going up, I also have invested in TVP and peanut butter. This is TVP. I don't know if you can see it very well. Texturized vegetable protein. It looks like dry meat crumbles, and it kind of essentially works like dry meat crumbles. TVP is made from soy. If you're opposed to soy or allergic to soy, it may not be the thing for you. For me, I can use it because if I'm making spaghetti or something, I can toss that into my sauce when I'm making my spaghetti. I can toss my dehydrated onions in there, some basil, some oregano in there, and I'll put some either chicken base or beef base in there, and I'll make this. And a tablespoon worth is enough because it'll swell and it becomes a very wholesome part of a good meal for me. Like I said, it may not be the thing for you, but for me, yeah, this works. And considering I could get a package of the TVP for about $5 and know that it's enough of a meat substitute that might last me a month, that saves me a lot of money. But I digress. I've gone on and on a little bit. I hope you're all well. I hope you're preparing. Um, get your fresh produce whenever you can. Try to dehydrate some stuff. Put it away if you can. Don't overcook stuff. By that I mean if you're wanting spaghetti, just make spaghetti for one. If you're cooking for two, just cook enough, a reasonable amount for two. Don't give children adult sized meals because then it's just going to be a waste. Because they'll get that food, they'll eat a couple of bites and say, I'm bored. I want candy. I want sweets. So instead of going through all that, give them a child sized portion. And in America, we've learned to just overeat all the time, which is a problem. We overeat and then we eat unhealthy stuff, and then when we start having health problems and excessive weight problems, and then we're struggling to try to get everything back off of us because we've put ourselves in this situation on our own. So, learn from me and what I've learned, and try to get some things like ginger, garlic. Try to get things that are going to be healthy and helpful for you so that you can have your needs met and be comfortable and healthy and happy at home. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm sorry I talked on and on, seemingly forever. I did talk quite a bit today, but I hope that the rest of your day and the week goes well for you, and I hope that you're preparing for stuff, because one minute it's snowing, the next minute there are tornadoes going across the country. We have crises, multiple crises going on all the time, all around us, and that's why we really need to be prepared for all things at all times. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon.